This is getting fucking ridiculous. Today I want to talk about something that's kind of really pissing me off, and it's Scooby-Doo as a franchise. We're seeing a drastic decline in quality for this show and this franchise. It's just insane. Really starting about this fucking movie. It just started getting pretty awful. And more recently, you probably know, in the past few days, the trailer has come out, the second trailer, and then eventually the first few episodes, as far as I know. And I took my personal agenda, set it aside, and I watched the first episode of this piece of shit. It's bad. It's very bad. I don't think Scooby-Doo has ever been in a worse state before. Like, it's just declining in quality constantly. So going back to the Scoob movie, it's just... that's when it started going down really, really bad. So Warner Bros. Decided, let's bring back Scooby-Doo, let's do a new movie. And I was really, really excited. I mean, just looking at this thing, like, they brought back a bunch of old characters. Like, we got Captain Caveman. Like, that was... dog is squeaking his toy. It was just very bad. There was not a single good thing about this movie. The characters, they changed all the voice actors besides Fred voices Scooby-Doo now in that movie, which was very weird. The original voice actor, Fred, they made him voice Scooby-Doo. And the rest of it, they just brought in Hollywood stars to voice the rest of the characters, which is horrible. It's not who we grew up watching, especially when all those actors are readily available. Even the actor of Daphne came out and said that she couldn't watch the movie just because it just didn't feel right anymore to watch it. Like, it's just a problem that we're seeing in Hollywood. And Scooby-Doo is a story about a bunch of kids that don't have similar personalities and they get along very well and solve mysteries. Well, in this new show, Velma, what we tend to see now is that they just don't even have their old personalities. They don't even look the same. They change their races. They just change their characters. Now, changing a character's race is not, like, a problem if you do it right. In the Batman 2022, they changed Jim Gordon to be black from white, and this really doesn't make a difference in the character. He still does a great job, the actor does, and it just seems like Jim Gordon, and I think he's a perfect actor for this Batman series that they're making with Matt Reeves. Now, looking at, Scooby-Doo, they changed all the characters in the Velma series, and they don't even act like who they are. Like, Shaggy's just a stereotypical just drug dealer, like not dealer, sorry, he just does drugs. They hint towards it in that stupid joke that you probably all seen all over Twitter. And then Daphne, she's a drug dealer now, and then Velma even doesn't even understand it. It's just weird. And Fred, they have a Hitler joke for Fred, and he's just this rich white boy, and they just constantly make like dick jokes the entire show so far, and it's just like, again, I only watched the first episode, and it was just so fucking bad. I don't even know if they have more episodes out. I didn't check, but I'm so done with it. Like, Scooby-Doo, I love this franchise. Like, I have so many of the DVDs still. Like, I just showed you that bobblehead from my desk. Like, this show means a lot to me, and Spot's back there. Spot's also a big Scooby-Doo fan. He watches it with me. This guy loves it. He approves of Scooby-Doo, but the new movie, the Velma show, this show is just going down. The series is going down, especially when this is the most that we've gotten in years out of Scooby-Doo. Now, this isn't like complete trash. I mean, this doesn't mean that we're over. I mean, the show is trash, yes, but we're not. Scooby-Doo isn't like on a just complete downcline overall. See, we had the Scooby and Courage the Cowardly Dog crossover, like I think a year or two ago. I haven't heard a lot about it, but I didn't hear anything bad about it, so I'm assuming it was pretty decent. I'll have to get that to watch still, but it looks pretty cool. However, this Velma show is the biggest thing we've seen in Scooby-Doo for a long time since that movie. And Warner Brothers just recently announced that they are going to be not doing the new Scoob movie. It was supposed to be taking place before the Scoob movie that came out a few years ago. And it was just supposed to be them as kids, like we saw earlier on in that movie, that they were younger, how Shaggy and Scooby met, which was stupid, by the way. But they were supposed to be making a prequel to that movie with them as kids. Now, that sounded kind of cool, like the childhood Scooby-Doo cartoon that they made back, I think, in the early 2000s or 90s, one of the two. That show was really good. So this movie might be a little bit more interesting, but yeah, that Scoob movie just didn't do anything right. There was no mystery. The characters were just not them. It just was different voice actors. It just didn't feel like Scooby-Doo. That was my big thing. It wasn't entertaining. It wasn't memorable. All the cameos from those other Warner Brothers characters just weren't fun. The voice acting wasn't good. And it just really comes down to that. So then back to Velma. It's just... it's finally cool to see like an adult-oriented Scooby-Doo sort of thing, though. Like, we have like actual murders going on. And that's cool. But the problem comes down to be it's just not Scooby-Doo anymore. The thing that everybody's been talking about is that if we just go ahead and take Scooby-Doo and just bring in new characters into the universe, and that would have been great for this. Just don't name them their actual character names. Like, even like Shaggy, he goes by his actual name because, his name is not actually Shaggy in Scooby-Doo lore. It's a different name. He's going by that in this show, and it's like they're even acknowledging it's just not the Scooby-Doo characters by doing that, because Shaggy doesn't like being called his actual name. He likes to be going by Shaggy. So that's just weird. And I'm actually not even going to complain about this because the show's so bad, I don't even want to see what they would have done to my dude, but they took Scooby-Doo out of the show. Like, he's not in the show. It's just Velma. It's literally what it's called the name by. It's just crazy to me. And you can see how they're trying to, like, get a little hype around this and just build up behind it. I'm gonna pop up this image real quick. You can see Warner Bros. Said that on HBO Max came out and said that the Velma is the highest animated show, I believe, that has come out on the platform so far, which is ridiculous. The show does not deserve any attention. If you want to go watch something good of Scooby-Doo, go watch Mystery Incorporated. That is a much, much better show. One of the greatest Scooby-Doo things to exist. Go ahead and watch that. Don't watch Velma. But it's embarrassing. I grew up watching Scooby-Doo, and it's kind of next to there with SpongeBob with me, how important this show is to me. I absolutely loved it. And it's just now, they're just ruining it, it feels like. Like I said, there seems to be some bright stuff happening, like the Scooby-Doo and Courage the Cowardly Dog crossover. Still, I haven't watched it, but I'm very optimistic to watch it. I think it looks very, very cool. Back to Velma, though. Scooby-Doo's not even the show. The franchise is called Scooby-Dooby-Doo. And Scooby-Dooby-Doo is not in the show. Shaggy doesn't act like Shaggy. Fred doesn't act like Fred. He's not like this funny guy it's just not Scooby-Doo. And the jokes, we'll get to that now. The jokes are just god-awful. The people that wrote the show hate Scooby-Doo. They do not want to watch Scooby-Doo, and they do not want to make Scooby-Doo content. They're hiring people to write the show that don't even like animation. They make jokes about how animation is not meant for adults, and it's just dumb. It's like, clearly the show is written for adults, but then you're making these terrible jokes about adults not liking it, like not being animation not being for adults. It's like you're making all these jokes. It's like you're making all these jokes about animation not being for adults, yet you're just making the show for adults. It's like it's just a high rated for adults. So then you just make it so it's like, hey, we don't think adults should be watching this. So I just question it. What is this show made for? What is the target audience? Because it's not adults. It's not children. Fred's making penis jokes and dressed up like Hitler in the rain. Like, it's not for kids. Then you're making fun of the adults that watch this and grew up with Scooby-Doo. It just doesn't make any sense to me. The humor is just horrible. The humor is not funny at all. The characters are just constantly making these jokes oriented about their race, their changes, and they're just horrible stereotypical personalities. Like Shaggy, it's just, again, that clip of just him just sitting there staring after making the drug joke. It's ridiculous. I just don't I can't even fable it. Like, I don't understand how they mess up this bad. And I usually don't make videos about these kind of things, especially negative things, but this just really is crossing the line. It just ruins Scooby-Doo and what it stands for by doing this. So I really hope this show doesn't get a season 2, but with it being the most popular or most viewed or whatever it is show on HBO Max right now, cartoon especially, I really hope it doesn't end up like Morbius and they try and do something else with it, like how Morbius came back to theaters again. I hope they don't try and do that with this show by making a season 2 or something. It's not oriented, it's not wanted. I think the people that are watching this show really are just like fans of the original Scooby-Doo that don't pay attention to what the internet says or the reviews, and they're just gonna go watch it because they feel the need to, because they like Scooby-Doo, or they just see something new and they're like, oh, go check that out. It's highly rated. Woo, it's being advertised everywhere. Let's go watch it. No, this show is terrible. So yeah, I mean, I just hope Scooby-Doo returns to its original form. I hope we get a new show sometime. Animated, of course, just something really cool. And I wouldn't mind an adult-oriented Scooby-Doo show if they just kept the characters the same, or they brought in new characters. I think that'd be really cool. Is have a new rival gang to the Mystery Incorporated and have them try and solve these more serious cases. Make it rated R, do whatever you want. Make it live action, make it cartoon. Maybe they have a different animal, like maybe not a dog, just do something cool. not like use the same characters, remove Scooby-Doo, change everything we know about these characters. It doesn't fit Scooby-Doo, it doesn't fit the format. So that's really all I wanted to talk about, just a bit of a rant. I hope they fix Scooby-Doo and they stop doing this terrible show. So thanks for watching.